The first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the seam allowance where our zipper is going to be placed. So you from the free edge at the top, as you can see on the video, I'm going to measure 1 centimetre in. And then the rest of my seam allowances will be 1.5 centimetres. I find it easier to draw all my seam allowances in before I start sewing because I use them as a guideline. They become my stitch line. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to place our zipper face down. Line the edge of the zipper tape up with the edge of your fabric and make sure you've got both ends of the zipper hanging off both ends of your project. All will become clear later. Then lay your lining fabric on top. So essentially you've got a zipper sandwich and make sure you put no less than 8 pins in your project. Over pin, that's what I would suggest. It's much easier when you start sewing. So when I've finished adding all my pins, I like to run my index fingers just along the edge of the zipper teeth, and it kind of makes this little indentation so that I know when I use the zipper foot and I start sewing, I know where the zipper teeth are, and I know that I don't want to line my needle when I'm sewing and the zipper foot up too close to the zipper teeth because I want to make sure that I can open, the bag. So I kind of use the my little index finger as a guide. If it helps, you can run your index finger as a guide and then you can draw yourself a line before where that guide is, and that will give you an idea on where you're going to sew. And when I'm ready to start sewing, I always will position my needle. So I'll turn the hand wheel to position my needle in my work. And what I'll do is I'll turn the hand wheel a few times and I will make a few stitches with no electric just to be able to make sure that the needle's in the right position, and that it can clear the zipper foot quite comfortably without any difficulty. Why are we using the zipper foot? Because the zipper foot has two sides. It's got two cut out sides, which means that we are able to sew our zipper with no problem without having to turn our work and or without it causing any difficulties. It also means that if we've got a very narrow zipper, we can get in quite close, which is always really helpful. So once you've finished sewing your zipper, I always suggest that you iron the seams open. That way you are ironing all the fabrics nice and flat to expose the most of the zipper that you can. Also check that the zipper opens comfortably. So open it and close it to make sure that it's not caught, that the fabrics aren't caught on the zipper teeth. And then, like I say, give it a press. You've also got the option you could top stitch over all the fabrics, or you could use a decorative stitch. The choice is yours. And then we're going to start on the second side. So, second side is exactly the same as the first. You will lay down your exterior fabric. So the exterior fabric goes down first, then the zipper goes on top, then the lining. So we're making this same zipper sandwich that we made before. And what will happen is when you've stitched all the pieces together, you will have the linings all together and the exterior fabrics all together. And as before, you can sort of see that, I take the zipper foot off. I checking both which side is going to be best for me to use, to sew my zipper. So I attach the zipper foot, and then I'll position my work, put the presser foot down, and before I start sewing, I'll just turn the hand wheel a few times. Is it in the correct position? If it's not in the correct position, take my work off, reposition it again. And I might have to do this a few times until I know that I've got it in the right position. And once I'm happy, put my foot on the clutch, and then I will continue on my journey and I will sew my zipper. I just realised I called it a clutch, and the reason I do that is because I normally use an industrial sewing machine, so sometimes I forget. But yeah, anyway, to continue on. So next thing and final thing that we're going to do is make sure that your lining pieces are together and your exterior fabrics are together. Once you've got those together and you're happy, and you've got all the corners all lined up together. One thing to do before you start sewing, just go to your zipper and open your zipper and check that it all opens up nicely, and leave it open. And the reason we're going to do that is because when we sew the zipper, when we sew the outer perimeter of the whole zipper, we're going to lie all the seams nice and flat. And I would put lots of pins in, more pins than you think you would actually need. The more you pin, the more all the pieces will stay together. So make sure that you are putting no less than 20 or more pins in your work. Also, to the final thing to do before you start sewing, you have to leave yourself an opening so that you can turn the bag out. So where the lining fabrics are, you've got to leave yourself about a 10 centimetre opening, so that you can put your hand through and then turn the whole bag out. And you will see this area is positioned on the pattern piece as well to help you. So make sure you leave that open, pin all the way around, and then sew all the way around. And don't forget to backstitch at both of the ends where you're leaving the opening as well, because that's always really important. Because the last thing you want is to make your bag and then it all come apart because you've forgotten to backstitch. So continue on your journey, sewing all the way around. Make sure you leave the needle down when you come to each corner, and position your work, turn your work, and continue on your journey. And then when you're finished, make sure that you backstitch. And like we talked about, you've left the opening so that you can turn the bag inside, so that you can turn the bag the right way around. The opening that you're going to leave is going to be in the lining. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. Yeah, so leave the opening in the lining. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn the bag the right way around, give it a really good iron, and you can either hand stitch that opening closed in the lining, or you could stitch it with the sewing machine, and then you're done. Nice and easy. So, final thing to share is a few photographs, really, of some of the bags that previous students have made, and I have got permission when they finish the course, and they've kindly agreed to be able to share them, just to give you a little bit of some inspiration on things that you could do with your bag. So I hope you enjoy this process, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.